Radio Imanzi ijana na gatanu igice kimwe FM. Twese hamwe birashoboka.
We got you updated. This is Radio Imanzi News in English.
This is Radio Imanzi broadcasting from Kigali. Here is the news in English brought to you by Fiona Umuganwa and Umngali Advin. The headlines. Prime Minister Edward Njirene today presided over the Teachers' Day celebrations at BK Arena. The Rwanda Meteorology Agency has said many parts of Eastern Province and a few parts of the Southern Province will experience minimal rains in November. Tanzanian President arrives in China today for a state visit. Welcome back. News in detail. Prime Minister Edward Njirene has urged teachers to take advantage of different initiatives that are aimed to improve the quality of education. He made the call today during the Teachers' Day celebrations that brought together more than 6,000 teachers who convened at BK Arena for the celebrations that were observed under the theme "The Transformation of Education Begins with Teachers." The Premier urged teachers to be committed to improving ICT skills and embracing innovation in education so as to improve the quality of education in the country. ICT and innovation are in line with the National Strategy for Transformation 1, which includes ICT in education policy and its strategic plan that puts emphasis on smart classrooms, one laptop per child, as well as one laptop per teacher. The Ministry of Education says there is a need to work with partners so as to equip about 100,000 teachers in secondary, primary and nursery schools with laptops to facilitate smart learning in Rwanda. The Prime Minister also encouraged teachers to strive for increasing English skills as a language of teaching in Rwanda. He said the government continues to recruit competent and committed teachers to improve the quality of education and that they will continue to provide training for teachers to enhance English skills among teachers as well as they are essential in delivering quality education. The Prime Minister added that the government will continue to subsidize school fees by 50% for students who choose to join teacher training colleges after completing an ordinary level with good grades and help them pursue a university education. The move is aimed to attract the best teachers in the education system and thus boost the quality of education. Njirene went on and promised teachers that the government will look into possibilities of putting a tax exemption on money allocated for school feeding and also encouraged schools to set up gardens in their premises where students can cultivate basic foodstuffs like vegetables and fruits. The minister's promise followed requests made by teachers today during the celebrations. They said periodically the government allocates money to schools for feeding students. However, teachers say the money allocated to them is taxed and this has affected their purchasing power considering rising food prices. The Eastern and Southern Province are about to experience minimal rains in November. Alvin Umngadi has more on this report.
Thank you, Fiona. The Rwandan Meteorology Agency has said many parts of Eastern Province and a new part of Southern Province will experience minimal rains in November. However, the forecast shows that improvement of rainfall is expected in parts of Southern Province, which has initially experienced dry conditions in the last few months, but southeastern parts of the country will continue to experience low rainfall. During the month of November, the amount of rainfall ranging between 50 and 250 millimeters is expected across the country. The expected rainfall will be normal over many parts of western, northern, and southern provinces. The first 20 days of November are expected to record normal rainfall, while reduced rainfall is expected during the last 10 days of the month across many parts of the country. The spatial distribution map shows that rainfall will decrease from west to east due to influence of local features such as forests, lakes, and topography. Moderate to strong wind ranging between 4 meters per second and 10 meters per second is expected across the country. The maximum temperature is expected to range between 20 degrees Celsius and 30 degrees Celsius. The forecast warned that impacts associated with dry conditions are still prevalent in areas where below normal rainfall is expected, while impacts of strong wind, thunderstorm, and hailstorms are likely to occur in different parts of the country, mostly during the 20 days of November. Back to you, Fiona.
That is set to host a Wikipedia forum dubbed Indaba, the regional Wikimedia conference for communities in Africa and diaspora with an interest in free knowledge. The conference will be held for 3 days from November 4th to 60th under the theme Advancing Africa's Agenda in the Implementation of the 2030 Movement Strategy. The conference aims at building capacity for African Wikimedians, fostering growth of the coverage and involvement of Africa in Wikimedia projects, and connecting African Wikimedians both within the continent and in the diaspora to turn ideas into action. The conference will be held in person at the Kigali Convention Center, but will also be streamed live. Residents of Kamonyi district have been promised that the lands they owned currently enlisted by the government will be returned to them. Alvin Umgadi has more on this report.
The residents of Kamonyi districts have been assured by the Ombudsman that those who have previously owned lands that the government has enlisted will receive their properties back if they can provide evidence of ownership. Honorable Nirere Madeleine made the remarks while touring the district where the residents had brought up the matter. According to some people of Kamonyi district's Gachurabge sector, they were unaware that the properties were subject to government title and merely believed that the government's lands were marshes. They requested assistance from the Ombudsman in reclaiming their lands.
We shall come back.
Economic news is a regular feature on Radio Imanzi.
Welcome back. The currency market review of today. The Burundian franc buying price was 0.5 and the selling price was 0.51. Ugandan shilling buying price was 0.27 and the selling price was 0.275. Tanzanian shilling buying price was 0.44 and the selling price was 0.45. The Kenyan shilling buying price was 8.5 and the selling price was 8.7. The euro buying price was 1,027 and the selling price 1,048. British pound buying price 1,196 and the selling price 1,220. The US dollar buying price 1,039 and the selling price 1,060.
Some items of international news on Radio Imanzi.
Heads of defense forces in the East African community are expected to meet as soon as possible to find a sustainable solution to the rampant security crisis in eastern DRC. A statement issued by Burundi's presidential spokesperson, Lady Diomede Nzeyimana, indicated that President Evariste Ndayishimiye made calls to regional leaders in his capacity as chairperson of the East African Community Summit of Heads of State to harmonize views on ways and means of managing DRC security crisis. Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan has arrived in China for a state visit. Alvin Umngadi has more on this report.
The Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu has arrived at Peking International Airport in Beijing, China, for a state visit that seeks to strengthen bilateral cooperation between the two countries. The 3-day visit is expected to focus on key areas of cooperation between Tanzania and China. These include agriculture, industrial development, trade, and infrastructure. President Suluhu's visit follows an official invitation by Chinese President Xi Jinping, who will host a welcoming ceremony for President Suluhu. The two leaders will later hold bilateral talks and jointly attend a signing ceremony of cooperation documents. According to a statement issued last week by Chinese Foreign Ministry's spokesperson, President Suluhu is also expected to meet with Chinese Prime Minister and the chairman of the National People's Congress Standing Committee.
The Ethiopian government and Tigrayan forces have agreed on a permanent cessation of hostilities to end the war in the northern Tigrayan region. The announcement was made by African Union Chief Mediator Olusegun Obasanjo following talks between the two sides in South Africa. According to a Belgian-led academic team, between 385,000 and 600,000 civilians are estimated to have died during the 2-year war in Tigray because of fighting, famine, and lack of health care. Somalia President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud has promised a relentless war against Al-Shabaab militants. Alvin Umngadi continues with this report.
The Somalian President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud has promised a relentless war against Al-Shabaab militants, a response he said will pay the militants in their own currency of violence. Mr. Mohamud spoke after visiting the scene of a deadly twin explosion which killed more than 100 people and wounded at least another 300. He described the militants as bereft of morals and urged his troops to pursue the attackers to the very end. Back to you, Fiona.
The British Prime Minister has reversed an earlier decision not to go to the COP27 climate summit in Egypt. It was earlier announced that Rishi Sunak was too busy preparing for the November budget to attend the event, which opened on Sunday, November 60th. Mr. Sunak said there was no long-term prosperity without action on climate change or energy security without investment in renewables. His official spokesman said the Prime Minister was hoping to make progress on the commitment to halt deforestation by 2030 and to agree new partnerships on clean and renewable energy. With that, we come to the end of tonight's edition.